I'm never going baby faced again. Never.
Really?
All right, we
Nothing.
are.
Nothing against you, Charlie and
Oh,
Sarah.
no, no. I just felt like in the afterlife, my dad would
Me.
slap the shit out of me.
No, I feel that. I went babyface for Anakin in Celebration, and I was like,
Oh, that's right.
I was like, I hate this. I hate it so much.
I like it.
But what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the den. You guys caught us mid Indiana Jones talk about facial hair and all that stuff. But yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a hot minute. I don't think I need to go back. I don't think I've done like a roundtable this year. I don't because like besides Tales of the Underworld, has anything else come out? I'm like blanking right now off the top of my head. Tales of the Underworld and Andor are the only things that's come out this year, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
So far, yeah.
So yeah, it's been a minute. Going to Japan was crazy, all that stuff. We're here to talk about Andor tonight, but there'll be plenty of Japan stuff coming as soon as I can get the time to edit it. But I'm here with these three lovely people. Got Charlie, Wes, and Sarah. They've been here so many times on all different sorts of round tables and stuff like that. But yeah, Andor season 2. This was the first one for me that I didn't watch it until everything was already out. Like I wasn't watching it like week by week, because the first season the first 3 episodes came out. I think the second week that I stayed in Japan for 2 weeks, and it was that second week, so I was just busy. We didn't see anything, and then I had like mad like not a hangover. What's the jet lag?
Lag.
I was like, what's the word for flying on a plane? Yeah,
Basically a hangover.
basically a hangover. And it just didn't time out until the end. So I actually got to sit down and binge it, which is weird because I've never really done that with like a Star Wars project before. Usually I'm pretty like week to week and stuff like that. But before we like really like deep dive into it, like on a surface level, can you guys tell me like how you feel about like just Andor season 2 like as a whole? We'll get into all like the nitty gritties, but more just like, oh, I really liked it, or like it was okay, or me, you know. We can go. Let's do how you guys are on my screen, which is Sarah, Charlie, then Wes, if that's cool with you, and we can just kind of circle it from there.
Right. Yeah. Nothing but good things to say about Andor, honestly. I've had high expectations for this show since the get-go, when it was announced, when it dropped, and going into season 2, I was really excited, really hyped. And to see it all come together and to see how it connected directly into Rogue One was one of the most satisfying pieces of storytelling I have ever seen. I have never felt such intense emotions from a Star Wars project since, honestly, like the originals and the prequels. So to get that in this show was really mind-boggling to me, but it showed how good the storytelling was and how great all of these actors were, each and every single one of them. There wasn't anyone in there where I was like, this character's boring, I could care less about them. Like, I rooted for everyone, and I just am so sad it's over, and
Yeah.
we will probably never get another amazing Star Wars show like this in a long time, honestly.
Well, hopefully we will. Well, we definitely got the animated mall coming up, and that's gonna be fire. I believe in my heart that mall should, but like live action. I agree. I hope that this level of like caliber that you're talking about, like I hope that they can like bring that, whether it's like having Tony Gilroy do like another like project or something like that outside of Andor, or what have you. I think that's definitely achievable. But Charlie, what about you, man? How do you feel about the season as a whole?
And first, if there's like a weird echo, please let me know and I can turn the thing down. But anyways,
No, man, you're great. You're coming in crystal
Okay.
clear.
thank, thank Tom Cruise. So like, oh my God, I love the first season. It was good despite. As slow as. Okay, cool. So dude, I knew it was gonna be good, and I knew prior to this, there were Tony Gilroy and like a few other cats like had clearly said, even when we were in Japan, like, hey, this is leading directly into Rogue One, and man, they were not kidding. It was God, it was so good. Every time I watched an episode, I was not disappointed. It's very rare that I am disappointed now that I think about that. But whatever. Renegade for life. Literally dittoing off Sarah there. I cannot watch Rogue One the same way. Case in point, I used to go. I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old. I'm like, whoa,
Dang it,
dude.
stole my line.
Whoa, chill, man. Like everything like that. Don't talk Jen like that. Now, however, after watching all this, I'm like, Jen, you have no idea what this man's been.
I have been in this fight since I have been 6 years old.
No idea what he has been through.
Yeah, he's been through it for sure.
Yeah, I loved it. That's my answer. And I'm
Nice,
sticking
man.
with it.
Heck yeah. And I ditched StreamYards for those who don't know. So I don't know if the message actually popped up like on YouTube, but I saw Percy in the chat. What's going on, Percy? Appreciate you popping in here and hanging out with us and chatting. But Wes, what do you think, man? How you feeling about the season as a whole?
I think it's.
It sucks.
Ever,
No, just kidding.
I don't think we will ever get anything from Star Wars like this level of caliber again. I just, not to hate on Dave and John, I support them 100%. You know, there's been some missteps along the way.
Yeah.
They are just not capable of this level. Like, from what we've seen, they are just not capable of achieving the amount of depth in the plot, in the characters, in the set design, in the costume design. It just, everything about Andor is like what Star Wars should be on a detail-driven level.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's rewarding in a lot of ways because we get to enjoy it, but it's also depressing in a lot of ways because this is a high that'll never be met. Yeah. That's how I feel about it.
No, I agree. I wish we could take like the storytelling and kind of like how the scenes are laid out of like how Tony Gilroy does stuff and like the knowledge that like Dave Filoni and I would even say Jon Favreau, but mostly Dave Filoni have. Like, if we could, like, combine them and, like, have, like, a super baby or something like that, I feel like that would be, like, the perfect person to, like, lead the way with this, because I agree with that totally.
With Tony, though, what I like about Tony, and I was, like, I remember when this show was first announced, I was like, bro, who freaking cares? You know, Cassian died in Rogue One, like, you know, might be a fun way to see the dark side of the rebellion, but, like, what's the point?
Yeah.
And I mean, I almost like can't even like formulate my words because I just finished season 2 last night. I watched the last 2 episodes and then went straight into Rogue One, and just
hits different, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's just unreal. Like,
yeah.
It is just unreal. Like, and something else too is it's not just like in the debate for one of the best Star Wars things of all time. It's in the debate for like one of the best TV shows of all time.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this, but it's the only show ever to have 5 continuous episodes ranked at a 9.5 or higher on IMDb.
Wow. No, I didn't see that.
No show's ever done that before. Andor did it.
Dang. I mean,
So
makes
like,
sense.
That's the level. That's the level. It's making history, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely something like that kind of like caught me by, because I wasn't in the category of like, oh, season 1's like boring and slow, but I definitely wasn't like the biggest like season 1 stan. Like, I was like, oh, it was pretty good, like I enjoyed it, had some good plot lines, but season 2, man, just really like it like knocked it out of the park for me, and really like,
I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna go there. If you actually like dislike Andor, you are an actual idiot. Like, you actually are. Like, I don't care who is in this chat right now. You just dislike understanding characters on a deeper level. Like,
yeah,
I'm
for sure.
sorry. Like, if you think Andor is boring and a bad show, you just don't like good things. That is it.
I will say, to play devil's advocate, Cyril in the first season is like literally the worst. Like, I feel like he throws the pacing off of the show. So half the episodes he's crying in his mom's thing eating cereal, and then you have like Cassian and like everybody else doing rebellion stuff, and you're like, oh, that stuff's really cool. And then it's just Cyril being like, hello darkness, my old friend. Like,
if you want to talk Cyril, wait till we get to the Gorman Massacre episode.
No,
Oh, yeah.
but
I love Cyril's character.
But I will say no. But in this season, to play, I was just talking about the first scene. But in this season, I will definitely say, made me care about him like way more. I feel like they like bringing him into the fold a lot. Like his character came like full circle. I feel like, but I want to talk to the chat's kind of blowing up a little bit. So I want to acknowledge some peeps before
How do
we
we
move
view
forward.
the chat on here?
So
On YouTube?
yeah, unfortunately, you have to pull it up on YouTube. Normally in StreamYards you can see it, but since we're doing it through Discord, it's just gonna be it's just gonna be through YouTube. But the Skywalker Academy says Andor was a pleasant surprise, but a great one. I think we're all kind of in agreement. The Stanley's saying, "Hey, what's going on, Stanley's? I feel like it's been forever. Appreciate you popping in and saying hello there." You're not the only one who lost everything. Hit. Yeah, that definitely does, especially in the end of this season, which we'll get to. And JT's in here. What's going on? He said bro's eating. Yeah, he's some pizza. Some pizza.
It's making me hungry.
But yeah, we got some homies on the chat. But yeah, so let me see. So how do you guys feel about this season compared to season 1? I mean, I think I pretty much think I know your answers just off of what you've given. But do you like season 1 better? You like season 2 better? How you guys feeling on the seasons?
My gosh, there's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. But I probably would lean a little more. I mean, because I understand season 1 was the build-up. I knew it was going to be a little bit of a, slower pace, but to me it was entertaining from start to finish.
Yeah, slow burn. Yeah, for sure.
But it left me even more excited to see what was going to happen next in season 2 because a bunch of theories were just going in the air. But for me personally, I probably would like season 2 more, only because obviously it's a number of factors. Obviously, the storytelling and the acting, but I think for me, it was more the emotional impact that it left me towards the end. Because it was kind of building up, and we were starting to see, like, more and more people were starting to get lost or lose their lives along their way, and everyone that Cassian was around was starting to die.
Yeah.
And you were kind of more on the edge. Like, we know his fate. We know he's going to survive. We know his fate's in Rogue One. But how it gets to that point was really nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh my gosh, what's it going to take for him to not only break, but still have a driving force to keep going? And seeing everyone's stories and the impact that they had on the rebellion and the sacrifices they all made to get to the point where they all needed to be into Rogue One was just so beautifully done. And I have not cried so much watching a show. Let me tell you, I've watched a lot of movies, played a lot of games, read a lot of books, and it's like, yeah, you cry and then you're over it the next day. This just stayed with me through the entire week. Even now, like, just talking about it, I'm still, like, getting off some of those emotional damage.
Emotional damage.
Moments
So-
that this show put me through.
So, if you had to pick one thing, because I'm gonna piggyback this question off of another question, and then Charlie and Wes, I'll get you guys' thoughts. If you had to pick one thing from season 2, what do you think your favorite part of season 2 would be? It can either be like a specific scene or just something like abstract too. It doesn't have to be like, anything crazy. But if you had to pick like one,
I know mine.
Go ahead.
I got 2 actually.
Go ahead.
My first favorite is Mon Mothma's speech in the Senate.
Yeah, that's sick.
Second
Yeah.
favorite is a smaller moment, and it's when Saw Gerrera is telling Wilman to breathe in the toxic gas. Like, I probably don't have to explain myself on Mon Mothma's speech. I will say one line in that speech really hit me, and it's a really small like line delivery. It's when she's like, what took place on Gorman yesterday? What happened on Gorman yesterday? I love that because it's like just that one little sentence. It's like people wake up.
Yeah.
The whole thing of like this is not like something that took place like it's happened years ago in like some history book and it's just a thing that that occurred. No, it freaking happened.
Yeah.
There were people that were murdered in cold blood. Love that.
Yeah, she was saying it's like ripped through your fingers, like your freedom is being like ripped, taken, like literally forcefully taken away from you. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then the Saw Gerrera thing. Saw, he's in my top 25, probably top 15. favorite
Really?
Star Wars characters
Okay.
Of all time.
Good man.
Every
Okay.
time he's on screen, I'm watching like this.
Yeah.
I'm just locked in. Like a fascinating character to me. And when he's telling women to like breathe in the gas, and he's like, "That's what freedom feels like. Breathe it in." It's like I love that scene and just the extremes that Saw goes to fight his fight. I find so fascinating. I love this character so much.
Yeah, I'm sad we didn't get a little bit more of him in the. I mean, I guess there's so many moving parts, and I feel like they managed all the moving parts like really brilliantly. But I would have loved to see, because like there's one line in Rogue One where Mon Mothma's talking about Saw and saying that like his like the way that he acts has cost them like a lot in the Alliance. And I feel like we see a little bit of that in like Bad Batch, where he like blows up like the Citadel that they're at and stuff like that, and you can kind of imply. I would have loved to see like something like, I loved that they like in season 1 they burned Krieger just to like, because they had to. I would have loved to see more of that. Like, I get it, there's only so much you can do with 12 episodes. There's a lot of, he's more of a side character, but I would have loved to see like him like do something like just wacky, like out of because I feel like Saul is a left field character, like he just comes out of left field and just pulls some shit on you.
He is like what the Empire needs to turn the galaxy against the rebellion.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the rebels are like actual heroes. Like Saw is an actual terrorist, and
yeah.
I hate to say, like, it sounds bad, but that's what I love about him. Like, the juxtaposition of like him against people like Mon Mothma and Bail Organa, who are like sound, where Saw is not. But you understand like reasoning for, especially if you watch Clone Wars and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All he knows is war. He knows is war. I love it when Cal works with him in Survivor and all that kind of stuff too, because Cal's on that same path. It's just great stuff.
Yeah, they really weaved him into like a lot. Like after Rogue One, I felt like they like were just like dropping him, but like using him sparing. Like he wasn't like overdone. Yeah. But it was cool to see him in there. But Sarah, we never got your favorite ones, and then Charlie, we'll move on to you after Sarah's done. But if you got a couple or whatever, just rattle them off. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Definitely, Wes already stole one of mine, which was the Mon Mothma speech.
Yeah,
so,
I think that's a big one for most people. Yeah.
It got me like riled up though, like as if you were like a normal citizen in the Star Wars universe, probably watching that live, where she's like, "Your freedoms are being stripped from you. Look how much terrorism the Empire is causing. This is the tyranny that you brought in, that."
Yeah.
And then when she says Emperor Palpatine's name, and she says, "And the one you need to target is Emperor Palpatine," and then that one security guard's like, "Shut it down, turn it off," and I'm like, oh my gosh, like it gave me goosebumps just watching it. And I loved that whole sequence where Cassian was saving her and trying to rescue her, and like all of a sudden you were like, oh, that person's a spy, or like even her own driver was a spy, and Cassian was like, "Hey, what's your driver's name?" And she's like, "Bill," or whatever, and he's like, "Hey." Okay,
dude, her faces when he would just like surprise shoot somebody, like it kills me every time. She's like, Like it's just like blowing her. I mean, I guess that is pretty jarring just to be like, oh yeah, yada yada, bam, you know, like shooting somebody. Like, to be on the other end of being a senator, like not having anything to do with like, you know, killing people or war. You know, that I guess that's more of a startle. But her faces, this is so funny.
Oh yeah, those all turned into a meme, and
Yeah.
I loved that whole sequence in Right when she's like, oh, like who are you? What's happening? And he's just like, welcome to the rebellion. I was like, yeah, this is what we've been waiting for. Like finally, this point we've been waiting for it. That I can't praise that scene enough. That scene was just so well done. That scene was probably one of my favorites, and the final, it's not really much dialogue driven, but it's the final scene in episode 12 where Cassian puts on the jacket and he gets into the same outfit.
Does this cool guy walk? He's like,
just marching down. I'm like, man, I wish I looked that cool. But I probably trip and eat it. But I just, it like was like, I don't know how to explain that scene. It's so hard to form into words. Just the amount of emotions that this, even though there was no one was talking in this, it was just, you felt the heaviness and the weight of the emotion, because this was like the final destination for Cassian. Like this was it. This was his fate. This is him going in, reaching his path, and just going in full force, not looking back, not thinking twice about it. He looks at the Force healer. He looks at everyone on Yavin 4, just kind of prepping, getting ready for battle. And he gets in the ship and he's all like, all right, time to go to the Ring of Capri. And I'm like, oh, that was in Rogue One. And then to see a transition watching into Rogue One, I was like, oh, so that's why he was there. And that's why he was like in that mind. Like it's a different experience watching Rogue One. Like I feel like I'm watching a different movie now, watching it, knowing what I know after watching Andor. And it is just peak, pure cinema.
yeah.
And again, we're just not going to get anything like this ever again.
Don't say that. Don't put that evil out there. We gotta have hope. Rebellions are built on hope.
I got that reference.
I love it, but we'll see if they can get Tony Gilroy again. Then yeah, I'm all on board. But
I would love for him to get a trilogy. Like that would be cool. Like just some like out there trilogy. Like doesn't even have to be like Skywalker or Rogue One related. Just give him something to work with and let him go crazy. You know.
I don't think Tony's ever coming back. I think he did his thing with Rogue One and he did it with Andor. I think he's done. What I think the bigger thing is here is you just need to target talented people. Like
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Like Max, I'm gonna say some controversial things here, but like
let it fly.
Bro, stop hiring people that are clearly unqualified but check a box on your freaking list of what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, the director of the Rey movie? I mean, what are we doing?
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? It's decisions like that are kneecapping Star Wars. It's not that, like, Andor is, like... I mean, Andor is this unbeatable great thing. But it's not like you can't get close. You know what I mean?
For sure.
You just make the right decisions. A good decision was made with hiring Tony Gilroy and putting him in charge. A good decision.
Well, you can tell he's a storyteller, and I think that's a lot of like what Disney's problem is like what you're saying is like they're trying to be, I feel like, and Disney's not the only one that's like, you know, suspect of this, but like trying to fill check boxes and trying to meet their like certain agendas, whereas like Tony Gilroy follows under the same kind of, I feel like, tutelage of like George Lucas is like they just want to tell a good story. They just want to tell something and show you something, like make you really feel, because like I feel like that's like the number one thing I've heard all of you guys say is like the feeling it gives you. Even if you can't describe it, it's just like it makes you like, you know, it's that feel, like it's the Force, like you feel it, like, you know, in it. And I feel like people need to or Disney, when they're hiring, like what you were saying, like they need to find people who are into storytelling and telling good stories just for the sake of good stories, not because it fits this checkbox or this agenda or that. Like just tell the story, how, let the cards unfold is what I guess what I'm trying to say. So to piggyback off what you're saying,
and honestly, like if Andor is the gold standard, it's like, okay, you've done it.
Yeah,
you've done it. Just match the process.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
like Andor hasn't been super successful in terms of numbers, but it's been very successful in terms of fan feedback.
Yeah.
In fact, probably the most successful. I would argue more successful than The Mandalorian. And I don't know. I mean, I do think that we are in the middle of an era where Star Wars is turning a page.
I hope so.
It's gonna take more Andors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't know, dude. I think if they back the money truck up enough, that's one thing that you can't dispute is Disney's got big pockets. They back that money truck up enough. Tony Gilroy's hopping on something else. I think so. I think I am leaning towards you. He's probably wants to do. I mean, that's what most artists don't want to do the exact same thing like over and over and over again. But I don't know. They back that money truck up and they're like, hey, you have your own trilogy or your own another show or something like that. Because I don't know what he personally likes doing better, whether it's because he's done movies and shows. I don't know what maybe if you guys have heard in interviews and stuff. But if they back it up enough, man, I think the Disney's really good at convincing people to come back. I feel like
maybe, yeah. I was watching a video on like streaming as a whole and just kind of like where the format is moving, and I mean, Andor is like the last confirmed streaming Star Wars show. I mean, besides Vision, but I mean, I don't think much people buy a Disney Plus subscription for Vision.
No.
But like,
yeah, because Ahsoka's next year.
Seems like they're. Oh yeah, I guess Ahsoka as well. But like even that's leading towards Dave's movie.
Yeah,
so, like,
for sure.
I think they're really trying to pivot out of that, and
I hope so.
With Tony being a true artist and someone that wants to, take on projects that like fulfill him as an artist. I don't know if I mean he's rich. I mean, what does he need more money for? You know what I mean? I think there's certain people, good visionaries that don't bow to the buck, and I just think
for sure.
I would be shocked if he came back for anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think anything's possible, but I think I do. Like, I'm just trying to be a little optimistic, but I think I am in your kind of camp of thinking that he's more than like. Also, too, dude, he's been he did Rogue One, and then he did Andor season 1 and 2. I mean, that's like at least 3 or 4 years of your life, like minimum. Like that's a big chunk. That's a big chunk of time.
I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure he wrote the Jason Bourne trilogy. So he's done
so
really?
Much, okay.
Like spy thriller stuff already. Like I don't blame him for wanting to move on.
Oh, I didn't even know he did that, but that makes sense of why Andor's so like, because I feel like whether you like Bourne or not, like Bourne's a really intricate like a movie series, so that does make sense that he of like why it correlates, but yeah, I guess we'll just have to see. I mean, I think it is. I think that this needs to be the example, being like, hey, I think a lot of fans are like gravitating towards this. Maybe it's not a hey, can you copy my homework thing, but just like look at it, see what works, and then try to implement it in other ways for all these other shows and movies. And I think they will. I'm sure they have people who do that, and they see all the different aspects of it. But Charlie, we haven't heard your faves, man. What's your?
I don't like thinking, but I will. However,
are there something that, like I said, you can do vague?
I will do one honorable mention as well, because Wes, I am a huge Saw fan as well. If only you fight as well as you lie. God, so good.
Yeah.
I love that, man. No, okay, so the two things that's, God, it's so good. All right, Luthen was my favorite character. So I love the fact that in season 2 they at first you're just like, this guy's a stone cold. I love it. So keep doing it and everything. Would I sacrifice ever? That whole thing. I will not butcher that. But like that person and going into their like backstory and how he met, his assistant, how he looks at his daughter, I'll play off the family thing because it hits hard with me especially. But just seeing that and seeing like, oh my God, he was a former, like you see like these war flashbacks.
Yeah.
And just the small moments of him just going like, make it stop, like, and everything. Put on a mask, and of course that's gonna echo what he's gonna do in the future when he's taking down these idiots, these a-holes. And just seeing that, how he finds, it's like you're like, what's he? Oh man, okay. and then teaches her how to do stuff to the point in the episode, because I've gone back and watched it several times. I'm very guilty of that. Where he just at the opening thing, where it's very simple and very subtle, but he just like move, and then you're like, okay, and then how that comes back and loops back around, and it was one of the first things he taught her, and the first thing he says in the opening thing when he's going to meet, the guy who's spoiler going to get a cat, but unfortunately, sorry buddy, you're not a part of the bigger picture. So anything that to do with Luthen, and seeing his backstory in that episode 10, I remember watching the stream. Wes, I think you were in there, because I remember Kat was in there. She got really lucky and got like a submission for Tony Gilroy, and he was talking about, yeah, good luck guys, for getting through episode 10. Like, what's that mean? And it was Luthen's big moment, and the big backstory and how he goes out, like goes on his own terms, and just, I don't know, I love that part. Second, I'm not a big fan of like any like Imperial, but as soon as Krennic walks on, you immediately remember this is not force sensitive, everything. You have to remember, if you're not a force sensitive person, these guys are intimidating. So the moment that he steps on there in that final little arc, like, what would bring me here? And everything. And
it's like, I don't want to be in this basement.
You can see it all over his face. He is furious. He's like days away from being choked out by Vader for failing all this. So you know what's going to happen. But also, I love the moment I found out that was improv. That was not in the script whenever he put his finger on Dedra's head.
Oh, really? Okay.
Which is crazy to me. And I love how they played that out. I love when he comes in and just everybody's like, well, okay, see where this is going and everything like that. And he's just taking names and doing stuff like that. You immediately response is like, oh my God, no, he's a monster. Every one of them is a monster. No. But I feel nothing. I feel no remorse whatsoever. But those are two of my favorite. And that third honorable thing, like, I love the whole thing. There is no pure favorite, but that Luthen one got me, man. It really did. Yeah,
Luthen, I think, was a character everybody was kind of surprised by, because he's not in anything else, right? Like, I mean, obviously we know why now, but I feel like he kind of took everybody by like storm almost. Like, everybody's like, oh my God, like, this character is freaking, like, we haven't really seen, I would say, a puppet master like this since like Palpatine almost. Like, Palpatine's like the master of the master of puppets, and Luthen's like, I guess, taking a page out of his book. Even Mon Mothma doesn't really do it as much as Luthen does, and I think that ends up kind of biting Luthen in the ass at the towards the end. But I think that's why everybody like kind of grew to him, because he was just pulling all the strings, and for the rebellion though, so it's flip flopping. But so I kind of I have like a crap ton of like notes and stuff like that. So what I was planning on doing was, we're gonna do like chunks. So like how they released in 3-episode arcs, and just talk about some, like, we don't have to like break down every episode, every scene or anything like that, but just some stuff that took us by storm in each episode. So we're going to start off with 1 through 3, which takes place a year after the events. And I'm think you guys can check me on this if I'm wrong. Every time a new arc happens, a year takes place. Like, a year passes, right? Right up until Rogue One. So episode 1, I remember watching it and seeing, I don't remember ever seeing, and maybe this is why, because Cassian ends up stealing it, but that's like a prototype TIE fighter with like miniguns on it. Like, multiple miniguns, and I was like, dang, this is like heavy metal for Star Wars. I feel like Star Wars doesn't break out the miniguns, like, and then it had like a phasma or a plasma type weapon or something like that. Do you guys remember seeing? There's a billion different TIEs in Star Wars. I don't ever remember seeing anything like that. I think that was created for Andor.
I cannot take credit for this. My favorite Star Wars YouTuber is Eckhart's Ladder. Go check him out. He's a big lore nerd. And he was basically saying that it's called the TIE Avenger. And it's never been in like Disney canon Star Wars, but it's from an old Star Wars, like I think PC game called Star Wars TIE Fighter or something like that.
Okay, yeah.
So it has like been around.
Ah, okay.
This was the first time that it was on screen. I've never played those games, so I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean the TIE Fighters, like that's like the Commodore 60. That's like when computers were like being invented. Like that's when that game came out. The really old school, but that's cool though. I didn't know that little bit of information. But yeah, man, I was like, no way it has, because if I remember correctly, it had like too many guns, like down below, and then it had like 4. So it had, like, I was like, that's overkill, man. I was like, the Empire would have won like instantly.
Stormtrooper just ate it. Went through the
Oh
door,
yeah, that's.
straight through it.
I am a little confused because like I don't remember. Maybe there was snow in that area because I kind of like binged everything, so I don't. Because that was a snow trooper. Was there snow when he broke out of that thing? Was there snow around that environment? There was.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was like, those are like snow troopers from Solo, which I'm so glad that they're getting more screen time, because we really only see them, and they've been doing a lot of different. Like I feel like the range of like Imperial like squadrons that we've been getting in like different like specialty classes have like been expanding since like I would say like Disney had taken over. We got like the patrol bike, the tank troopers, like the mud troopers. We got the, I don't know what they're called. We'll talk about them a little bit in like the later episodes, but like they kind of have like a pseudo stormtrooper, like tank trooper armor with like their like Imperial hats, like in this like I think like the last 2 episodes. I guess Grunt. I don't know, or like in like ISB. But I had never seen. I don't think those pop up anywhere. But we've been getting so many different like trooper variants. I feel like.
I think they were some sort of like Coruscant police, like Imperial Coruscant police.
Yeah,
I think is what they were.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense. So the big thing I think, and it took kind of I think you guys will know what I'm talking about because I'm gonna kind of tread lightly on like this topic. But I felt like this was a pretty big piece of like Andor when it first came out. It was with the situation with Bix and like kind of like the thing that she goes through and has like PTSD about. How do you guys feel about like that specific thing being in Star Wars? Because we don't really like ever get that or imply anything like that with her and that I guess both Imperial officers, because it's kind of like the guy that's checking the farm fields kind of is doing stuff, and then the guy that was like torturing her with like I guess that's a mind flayer. Is that what he was putting on her head? Was the mind flayer that they mentioned? How do you guys feel about that specific thing being in Star Wars? I know it's a heavy topic.
I won't get
I know it's, you know what, I'll go first. I'll go first to kind of break the ice with it, because I know it is kind of a heavier topic. I personally feel like for her character, like I don't think there could have been any like better setup. Like she's like a traumatized, like tortured character, and I think that was like the best way to like show that. And the Empire is like super massive, and just because like we haven't seen that anywhere else, I don't think that there's like a case for why it couldn't be in there. Personally, I don't think it's like, and I'm gonna flip flop on everything I just said. Personally, I don't think it's needed. Like I don't think it should have been in there. I think you could have alluded to it a little bit, but like I don't think it was needed. But I do see from a storytelling perspective why they chose to kind of go down that rabbit hole with her.
Are you talking about the rape?
Yeah,
the
yeah.
assault? Okay.
Yeah. That's why. Sorry, I was kind of dancing around it, kind of. I didn't want to like straight out say it. But yeah, I don't really, like I said, I don't really think that needs to be in Star Wars. But for her character and her character development, I get it. I guess if that makes sense. But I'm curious to see what you guys think, because that was like a huge thing. I remember being in Japan and like seeing like people like kind of. Like it was like, I feel like it was blowing up Instagram. It was blowing up YouTube. It was like a big point of, obviously it's a very serious topic and a very horrible thing. So I get why it's a point of contention, but I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on it too.
I mean, I know how I feel about it. I think, I mean, Andor, it's not the Clone Wars. You know what I mean? Like it's not Star Wars, I feel like, is past the point of it's for kids. I feel like
Yeah.
Star Wars has matured itself a little bit over the past couple releases, regardless of what George's intentions were. Andor is not a show like for kids. Like,
No, not at all.
if I had a kid, I would not sit like my 10-year-old, boy or girl down to watch Andor. They're not gonna grasp like everything that they need to grasp to find it entertaining and all that kind of stuff.
For sure.
So, like, knowing that your audience is a more mature Star Wars audience, I think it's totally fine. I wouldn't want to see anything like that in like an episodic movie where it is more directed for everyone. But like the stuff with Vix, like one of my favorite things about Andor is that it exists like at the same time as Rebels, but the Empire feels like drastically different because Rebels is like the cartoony stormtroopers and bad guys, and they miss everything, and they're just there to like get shot at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Where really makes the Empire evil. Like the Empire's the bad guy, but like it's little moments like what happened with Vix in season 1, where they have the headphones on her and she's listening to manipulated sounds of dead children. Like that's where you're just like, what is like, this is insane. And then that adds so much to like what Tarkin, what Vader, what Palpatine are really all about, because these are the depths of the means that they are willing to like go on to achieve their ultimate selfish goal.
Yeah.
And I think the rape scene is, I saw a lot of people hating on it. I guess I understand, but at the same time, like it's such a good example of how just corrupt and evil the Empire is on every single level. Like it's not just big bad Sith, wrinkly Palpatine. It's even all the way down to the stormtroopers and the little tiny officers. They're all bad. Like if you believe in the Empire's cause, you're bad. You're a bad guy.
Yeah.
And I think that specific sequence, the rape sequence in season 2, just does such a good job of making you like repulse the Empire. You're like, I can't believe I can't believe that just happened.
Yeah.
And it elevates like the rebellious feelings you feel on the inside to fight the Empire, because it reinforces your thought of like, well, like what the Acolyte does, where it almost tries to glorify the dark side a little bit.
Yeah.
There is none of that in Andor.
No.
Like there's a lot of gray in Andor, but the actual ethics of Andor are very black and white. And I don't know. I'm for it. I understand why people wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
I think it's a good inclusion.
Yeah, just pretty much piggybacking off everything Wes said, and being a woman in this fandom and kind of watching something like that. I know that's a controversial topic, and kind of just everything that Vix goes through is a rough subject to touch on. It's not
for sure
easy talking about trauma. Even like in the Fallen Order series, it's all based around trauma and Cal's trauma and how he's trying to get through it. And the thing is with trauma, it never goes away.
Yeah.
And we see that with Vix, how she's struggling to like sleep, and she's having nightmares. She's taking drugs to just numb the pain and the nightmares that she's in and the mindset that she's in, because she's just losing her mind from all the torturous things that she's been through. And I see it from both perspectives. I understand why people are upset, but at the same time, it was one of those things where it needed to be in there to show how ruthless and just evil the Empire is. And this is something I've been saying for a long time, is I've been wanting more mature Star Wars stories, because it's like, yes, I love the Clone Wars, I love Rebels, I love Bad Batch, but they're still in the genre of like, they're still in the format of aiming for kids, where it's still for kids. And it's like, you can't take it as seriously. It's like, oh yeah, they're the big baddies, they can't shoot, they can't, like their plans are all over, like because that one droid hacked it and they got away and yay, they saved the day. Whereas Andor, it just felt more realistic. And that was something I wanted from a Star Wars story from a long time. Is like, yes, it can be placed in this universe, but at the same time, give it some realism where we're still in that mindset of the universe, but it's like there's some moments where it's like, yeah, this is hitting home for some people. And I loved everything that they did with Biggs. And I feel like it added more depth to her character and why she made certain decisions, why she did, and why her, like, driving force to want to rebel even more against the Empire just grew.
Yeah.
Because, you know, she was trying to be calm and collected and try to pull, like, cards, like, oh yeah, well, I have a husband, I'm married, I'm just waiting for him, and it didn't matter. This guy's like, I don't care that you have a husband, I'm just gonna do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I felt so like I couldn't imagine being in her shoes, and I just like wanted to go in there, jump in there, and knock him out. So when she was like kicking his butt, and that other guy was like, "What did you do?" and she's like, "He tried to rape me." Like, what do you mean? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with you guys? Like,
Yeah.
you guys are crazy. Like, you're nuts. And it's just, it's not an easy subject to touch on, but it's
For sure.
something that needed to be in there for her character, because later on, because the one thing I was worried about is that her trauma was going to take her down to the point where she ultimately ends it all.
Yeah.
And I would have been very disappointed if they did that, because I wanted to see Bix come out of that dark space, and I wanted to see her rise up and be like, no, I can do this, I'll get through this, let's fight for this cause, and let's stand up, and let's get this rebellion going. And that scene with her and Cassian finally getting her just desserts on that guy, and they blow up the place, and she's like, now it's your turn. I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
It wasn't enough just to like put him in the torture device. They had to like blow up everything, like all the levels like blew up. I was like, oh snap! I was like, dang, wasn't expecting that.
And also, I was gonna say, and also like, I actually like, I love the rawness of that fight, like the scuffle in the homestead.
Yeah.
There are few like fights in Star Wars, if any, that actually like have that like scrappy, like bloody, like brawl aspect to them. I would say Cal and Bode's fight in the in the final battle has a little bit of that, where Bode is just like wailing on Cal.
Yeah.
Like, I love that kind of like rawness in like movie fights and stuff, and it makes the situation feel so much more like desperate, like and terrifying. And I like that as well about the scene.
Well, you can see how much she's like struggling too. It's not like he's overpowering her, she's overpowering him. Like, it's like they're both like struggling real hard in the fight. So you feel like it's already like what you're saying, like it's an intense situation, and then you throw like that on top of it. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, I bounce, like I said, I bounce back and forth with it, because like, do I necessarily want that in Star Wars? Like, for me personally, no. But at the same time, as like from like a storytelling perspective, like I totally get it to like convey like the evilness of the Empire, and like honestly, like it builds her character up even more so, and gives her character like immensely more depth than like not having it in there. So like I kind of flop back and forth with it, but I did want to hear your guys' thoughts on it, because like
it's not something I want to see pop up in the Mando and Grogu movie.
Right.
I think for
time and place,
use,
yeah.
Like I think it works, and I think it's good. But for like, I don't want to see that level of, whether it's sexual assault or not, I don't want to see that level of like ferocity or like disgusting actions.
Yeah.
In like every Star Wars thing. But I think for Andor, I think it fits.
Well, it's enough to know that I think that it's there. Like it's like they put it out there to where like the Empire's capable of that. So you don't need to kind of like I guess the term is like beat a dead horse with it. Like you already know that that's what they're capable of. So like you can go like because I agree, like it would be really out of pocket, and like I feel like Mando and Grogu is a little bit more like light and fluffy. So it doesn't go there. But Charlie, you've been kind of quiet on this. Did you have anything to add, or?
Nothing really to add. Look, I've dealt with, it's no real surprise what I do. But like I've unfortunately had to deal with people who have been victims of that and
Yeah.
had to deal with that. So seeing Star Wars, it didn't bother me none because I knew that Imperial asshole was not making it out of there alive. Casting was on the way. So I have never been more ecstatic and more excited to see an Imperial die.
Yeah.
Very, very honest.
Yeah.
I'm like, I really can't wait to see this person die. I want to see them, just die. I don't care. That's cool.
He gets messed up, that's for
Did it-
sure.
Did it need to be that? Well, remember, these guys are fucking evil.
Yeah.
And you know who they're based off of? A certain group of idiots in a certain time where I guarantee a lot of this happened a lot. So I'm not really surprised at all. It didn't bother me none because, like I said, I knew that guy was not making it out of there alive. So Biggs beating this guy over the head with the stun baton and everything like that, and just being completely concussed where he couldn't move. I was like, please give me popcorn. I want to watch more of this. I want to watch this guy suffer.
Yeah.
Makes it out outside, falls dead out there. Shoots the other guys. The other guys, running away while shooting and everything for distraction. So he wasn't getting out there alive. But honestly, it didn't bother me. Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like if they just allude to that situation and don't show it, you don't feel nearly as strongly as
Yeah.
you do, Charlie.
Yeah.
Like you have to see you have to be completely revolted by what you're seeing. Like I think them showing it was the right move.
Well, and I think they do both. And then Sarah, I'll let you go. They,
You're good. You're good.
they have that scene with like the guy being like really forward and trying to like do unspeakable things to her, and then you have like the I don't know what's the doctor's name that like tortures her. Do you guys not remember? I don't even know if it's said, but that guy.
Weasel.
Yeah, he I feel like they kind of like he definitely did some stuff with her too. And they kind of alluded there. So I think they do a good job of like kind of doing both. They show you like they kind of like sprinkle it in with him because I think that's the first one you see is like him kind of like reaching his hand for the like her like bedcloth or whatever, and then she's like freaking out. And I think that's if I remember correctly, that's what you see first, and then it takes place with that Imperial guy. If I have my memory correctly, so I think they kind of do a good job of kind of like it's not just like there, like they kind of ease you into it too, then kind of like brace you for like that kind of hard fact. I feel like. And then Sarah, you can go because I kind of interrupted you.
You're good. No, I love hearing all of your perspectives and honest opinions on this because it's not an easy thing to touch on.
Yeah.
But I I would have been more disturbed if they actually showed it. Like if we saw it happen, I would.
Yeah, it's too much.
Way too far. That's way too much. I don't need to see that.
Yeah.
Like okay, you're just hinting at it. Like you're just sprinkling it here and there. Okay, that's enough, and it's just adding enough frustration for Bix and hatred towards the Empire, enough for us to be like, yeah, the Empire's disgusting. Like, what's wrong with people like rooting for these guys or wanting these guys in power? Like, they're terrible. But I guess for some people it could be triggering because there are unfortunately people out there who have been victim to that. And so I could see why some people were probably not happy with it.
Yeah.
But again, with any kind of media or any kind of content, anything can be done overkill or overly done. And I think just by hinting at it, that's just enough to keep the story going. It's kind of like when you see someone getting, like in a horror movie, when you see someone dying or whatever. It's like, I don't need to see someone's guts spilled out. I don't need to see someone being tortured to get that they're dead. It's like, okay, it's a horror movie. Like, yeah, they're gone. Like, okay, that's it. Move on to the next one. Like there's drips and drabs of any kind of piece of content you can do. But for this, I felt like it was just enough. We got it. We got the message it was trying to do. We moved on. Bix got her justice, and now we can just focus on the rest of the story. Set, done.
Well said. Well said. And then I think with that we can kind of end that, unless you guys have any more you wanted to add. But I did want to talk to you about that because I did see that was a big point of contention with a lot of people stopped literally watching Andor because of it. Like I saw like not one but like multiple people were like, I'm not finishing this, which is such a shame because like it only I think it only gets better. Yeah, he was definitely that was that because of that.
He didn't like season 1 because there was bricks and screws in it. So.
No, but was that
Whatever.
I know he stopped watching it, but was that the reason why I didn't like watch that video of him like saying that?
But I just remember reading like an article or something saying that he decided, or seeing a clip on TikTok where he was just like, it was around that time when he decided he was not going to watch.
Yeah, I remember him saying he wasn't even a fan of like what you were saying, season 1. So like that doesn't surprise me. But yeah, it felt so bad because like
Which I stand by what I said earlier in the podcast.
What's up?
I said with that being said, I stand by what I said at the beginning of this podcast.
What are you referring to?
If you don't like Andor, you're an idiot.
There we go. No, but like I said, whether you watched it or didn't watch it, that's neither here nor there. I did want to talk to you guys about that because I felt like that was a we go on. I have a whole bunch of other things to kind of like talk about that's a little bit more light and fluffy than that. It's kind of like the rock paper scissors that they were playing when he was like in the camp or whatever. I don't know what game that was, but that was like wild because they were like rock paper scissors, and then the freaking giant like I guess it's like a boar alien, I don't know, like grabs that one dude, and then it's like so weird. So like Bix is dealing with that, Cassian's dealing with like freaking boars and rock paper scissors from like the freaking I was gonna make the reference and I can't think of the what's the book with all the little kids on the island. You know what I'm talking about? The kids on crap.
Oh my gosh, hold on.
And they all like Lord of the Flies. Yeah, Cassian's literally in Lord of the Flies. And then we have Mon Mothma being like, I call her Rave Mothma because she's all like partying and like dancing and getting like literally shit faced. It's such a wild. At least I think that was in the first 3 episodes that she was doing that. I believe. But no, going on that, I wanted to ask you guys because they were kind of being cheeky with it. Was Tay trying to get some booty from her? Was he like, oh, I'm being undervalued and appreciated, or was that?
No. He was just trying to get compensated more for the job.
Okay, to me it seemed like he was trying to get he was trying to get some.
No.
So I was like, dang, because her husband was saying that he was like talking about how they were like there was like a thing or something like that between them, and they had like beat him up or something.
Well, they used to date like on Chandrilla when she was younger. Like they were like high school sweethearts or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like he in that scene he was talking about like because he's money laundering for the rebellion.
Right.
He's in charge of
Okay, I wanted to get because like I don't know, I felt like he was trying to like get a little extra, and I was like, dang man, I was like they're doing everything in this freaking show, and that's why. Well, because like her reaction didn't seem like it was like he just wanted extra money. It seemed like he wanted like her. Like I don't know that, or at least that's what I. But
I didn't get that vibe.
But no, if you guys didn't, then I was just more curious about anything. But Tay ends up getting his. We see him like step into the cart with Cinta, and then you're just like, oh, he's gone, he's done.
Yeah.
Also, Luthen's line where he's like, what does he say? How nice for you to know what.
How nice you to not know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly, Wes. Good man.
Yep. And then she just goes and raves. She's Rave Mothma.
Yeah.
With her.
Which honestly, Mon's arc in the first 3 episodes was my favorite part.
Yeah.
I can't believe how interesting they have made Mon Mothma.
Right?
Like, that still just like blows my mind, but she's one of my favorite characters from this series.
Yeah, I'll say that too. Like I feel like this season did a good job about making me kind of care about like everybody, like all like the main character. Like Mon Mothma was always there, she's cool, but like I didn't care about her. And like you see like mini Bothans died to get us, like I'm like I don't care, get off the screen. I want to see Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader go at it. Like I don't give a crap about what your rebellion talk and stuff like that. You're just a placeholder. Leia's the badass one, but it really makes this season, like I feel like really like you know, Luthen, Mon, I mean, like literally, like I said, everybody, it gives them that, like, it really makes you care about them, you know, and like all the situations that they're going through.
Literally, yeah.
I will
like,
say that the wedding was a little cheesy. It kind of did drag out a little bit in some parts. I was like, okay, the daughter's mad at her. She's still going on with this wedding anyway. Like,
dude,
I like
Savage line.
Her daughter's like, I wish you were drunk. I was like, oh, I was like, damn, dude, I was like, just freaking flamer. Holy crap.
Let me tell you, if I had a daughter who talked to me that way, I'm disowning you. You're not talking to me like that. No, for me, I felt like the wedding did drag out a little bit. I felt like they could have easily kind of wrapped it up in one episode. That's just me personally. And the sequence with Cassian getting lost on, which was essentially out of four. At first I thought it was a different planet. Like I liked it, and then again it was kind of dragging just a little bit for me. Like it was like, oh my gosh, poor Cassian. He's just like, I'm just trying to find my friends, and y'all are having a rock paper scissors fight. It was like, is he gonna get out of this, or are they gonna leave it off? Like, oh, next week on Andor, and we're still gonna see. Like, I'm glad he got out. And he's like, okay, I'm out. I'm dipping. I got into the ship. I will say that was just the only tiny gripe I had, is that I would have liked to have seen just a little bit more with Cassian's heist that he was trying to do, and a little bit more on what message he was trying to get back to his friend that was dead that we never saw because those crazy rebels, I don't know, got rid of him, or the
killed him or something.
Monster thing got him or whatever.
Yeah.
That was one. On Mothma, I loved her arc. I understood what they were doing with the whole wedding sequence, and then I loved every scene that Luthen came in, and when her and Luthen would come in, I was locked in. I was like, I don't care about anyone else. I want to hear what Luthen and Mon have to say. Like, I was locked in on them from the get-go. Anytime they had stuff to say, and even Clea. Or Clea? Is it Clea or Clea?
I think it's Clea, I think. Is it Clea?
I can never pronounce it. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm surprised how much of a big character she became.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was kind of more of a secondary character.
I'm surprised she didn't die. I thought I was gonna, like, I pegged her as one of the people who would die, like her, Luthen. I thought everybody was gonna get burned, but apparently not.
K2S.
Yeah, K2S. So we'll get to him here in a second, actually, because he's gonna be.
I'm gonna step out for like 5 minutes. I gotta give my dog her pills.
Do you think? Do you think, brother? Yeah, and then we get not much to say on this, but then we get Brazos die. Brazos, is that how you say his name? Yeah, Brazos. He died. He got hit from, which finally, I mean, I guess freaking stormtroopers can finally hit something, man. I guess they can't hit anything, but as soon as somebody's on a speeder, they got him. But
as soon as they locked in on that shot where the stormtrooper just stops a minute.
Yeah.
Like, no, and you cut to it later, and
they can't even bury him. He's just like gone.
Face says it all. That dude had been there since Ferrex. And
yeah.
That's another thing. Another like an emotional, awesome thing at the same time. They kept the saying that they stone and sky.
Oh yeah, I noticed they said that a lot.
I love that so much, but I did.
Yeah. And, no, Ferrex is brought up quite a bit. Because the guy that makes the bombs does the same thing. He says that, and he talks about Ferrex a lot. So no, I agree with you. I think that's it for like one. That's like all the notes that I have for 1 through 3. If you guys you want to move on to 4 through 6. So we get another year jump. I didn't really see anything in episode 4. I just said it kind of starts like the Gorman, like set up for the Gorman massacre. And then for 5, I really like, I think, and I didn't say this earlier, but this will tie into it now. I think my favorite thing from this, I liked season 2 better than season 1. And then I think my favorite thing is I loved seeing how like Saw ISB, like Cassian, Mon Mothma, Luthen. Like I like how they juggled everybody. Like I feel like that was a lot to juggle. Everybody's doing different stuff, and it still felt fluid to me. Whereas like season 1, I felt like they were trying to do it, but like they hadn't gotten their footing yet. Like some of the serial stuff, like I didn't care about. Like some of the some scenes dragged out way too long. Whereas I felt like in this season they really tightened it a lot. Like they really tightened up. And that was my favorite. But yeah, we get to see Saul, and he's trying. Man, I'm blanking on the dude who's making the bombs. The bomb guy. He's teaching the other guy to make the bombs,
yeah,
or the frequencies.
I can't think of the name either, but he was in the not the Aldani heist. Might have been.
No, he's in Ferrix. He's the one that makes the bombs.
That's right. That's right. That's
yeah,
right.
He's not in the heist yet.
Yeah, that whole entire sequence was insanity. They're just like, well, okay, well, this guy's gonna be dead, and
Willen. That's what the Stanley says. Willen. And sorry guys, I've been reading your chats as we've been going along. I'm just trying to juggle us talking about it and seeing you guys. But I appreciate Skywalker Academy, the Stanleys. You guys are awesome. I've been reading all your stuff, and I'm glad you guys are here with us chatting. Appreciate you guys.
Always.
But sorry, Charlie, I interrupted you.
I've had a nickel for every time I no, it's so cool. That arc, the thing that stuck out for me was you start to see the thing that crumbled from within of the Imperial Center and stuff like that. I will always go back to the main guy for the Imperial ISB. I can't remember his name, but I will always remember him from. Yeah, I'm like, hey, that's the Maester from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, he is.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, dude, it blew him. I kept looking at it. I'm like, where have I seen him before? And then I'm like, oh, he got his.
Yeah, he's like the dark arts maester. He got like kicked out.
Yeah. He helped create the what happened with the Hound's brother. He was a crazy madman.
And the ISB.
Yeah, dude, I loved seeing that. I love them trying like, all right, what's going on, guys? Something's off.
Yeah.
Everything like that. Then they get tapped, like stuff inside there. Serial starts going bananas, and not in a good way. Of things being tapped and stuff. So he, like.
Do you think he was actually mad? I thought he was just. I thought he knew about that, like his office being tapped. I thought he was just like acting like he didn't know.
Because he was on like a power trip in a way. Because like by the time you get to the big event in the Gorman thing.
Yeah.
He thought he was doing something, and because Dedra and Maester guy had they were just kind of playing in a way, and then it just added his snapping point. But just that Saw and it's just always cool to see that. Those little things stood out to me, but that's just me. How about you guys? Sorry, I'm chatting.
No, dude, that's what we're here for, is chat. No, like I said, I think that's like my favorite part about this series as a whole, is just like how well they juggled everything. I'm trying to think of what off of that different side tangent. How did you guys feel about the new Bale? Because he shows up in this arc. We don't get Jimmy Smits. Thank you. We don't get him.
It's the only thing in Andor season 2 I just wasn't a fan of. It's not that he did a bad job. He actually did a great job.
Yeah.
Matching, like the voice sounded like
the cadence.
He matched it perfectly. It just, to me, Bail Organa is one of those characters that is like excellent for connective tissue.
Yeah.
Because he can show up in anything and it just feel natural. So huge missed opportunity for him to not like. I almost want to say like, you get used to it. I almost want to say like, either write a different character or delay the show. Like it's not unlike Disney Lucasfilm to delay Star Wars projects. So just do it one more time and get the right guy in there. You know what I mean?
Or maybe have like a voiceover. I don't know. I mean, I get the like him being in person. But they could have like maybe like had him record some voice lines and do him over like a hollow communicator or I don't know, like do something. But no, I agree. I think they used him sparingly enough to where like I didn't mind it as much. But yeah, growing up with like, you know, Revenge of the Sith, we got Rogue One. I'm trying to think of what else. Kenobi. What else is Jimmy Smits in?
The prequels, the Clone Wars.
Yes.
I don't think he's the voice in the Clone Wars though.
Oh.
I don't think he's the voice in Clone Wars or Rebels. I think it's a different guy.
Yeah.
I think.
Really?
I think I could be wrong on that front. I don't know, but I think he's all the live action stuff, but the animation, I think it's somebody else. I could have just pulled that out of my butt and been completely wrong. I don't know.
I remember he was at least in Force Unleashed because I remember seeing a panel that he did.
Oh yeah, he was. He's
and he was talking about that, and they're like, "Dude, what did you think about that?" It's like, "Oh man, I'm getting too old for this, man. I'm just happy to come and do a voice thing." I definitely missed him, but if it was due to scheduling or something that I really hope he's not getting or anything like that, I was like, "Oh man!" But the dude did good. Definitely seemed like his manners. You could definitely tell he studied like certain stuff. Even just like sitting there for whenever Mom Mothma was given the bombshell thing, you could just see the certain ways he would move his face or just do like that.
Yeah.
Just looked sad that like glorified.
No, he definitely studied like his movements and stuff like that because like I think it was like the best you could get without getting Jimmy Schmitz. Like, and I don't think it's because a lot of people were saying it was like a money thing. I don't think it is because like that guy that I'm blanking on his name, but that guy is the same caliber of actor as Jimmy Schmitz, like he's been in a lot. Yeah, he's been in a lot of stuff. So it's not. I think it was purely a scheduling thing of like they just couldn't get it because I know a lot of people like to be dramatic and be like, oh yeah, it was like they like lowballed him and like that's why he didn't come back and stuff like that. I think it was just the scheduling conflicts.
No.
But the Stanley says, I hated the disrespect that Bale shows Luthen in the final arc. And yeah, I think that's like the thing with Cassian too is like, he's like, oh, if I'm going to like get taken out by the Emperor, I want to like, go down swinging. And Cassian's like, oh, you're more alike with Luthen than like what you are. And I think it's just like that Luthen, I don't even know if he like was trying to like disrespect him. I think it's more so that like Luthen is like, maybe not like an extremist like Saul, but like definitely doesn't like to work. He doesn't work well with others. He kind of just like uses people for the rebellion. Whereas like Jimmy Schmitz, Bale, and Mon Mothma, like they want to keep as many people alive and like like to go forward. Whereas like Luthen will burn you if you if you don't do.
I think it just comes down to like Luthen is fighting for a good cause, but he is a bad person.
Yeah.
Bail Organa is fighting for a good cause, but he's a good person.
Yeah.
I think, and on top of that, Bail is all like Leia has to get it from somewhere. Like Bail is also very headstrong as well. So.
Yeah, it's cool because I'm like a little side tangent. I'm reading the Force Unleashed, the second one, and he's actually like a decent like spot in it with Juno, and like it's funny to like see him like be painted in like a different light than just like a senator. He's like he's a little bit more of a rebel in that one. But and then we get in this arc we get Cinta's death, which like I should have seen this coming because like anybody who watches anime knows that anytime a character like professes their love for another character and be like, I've been a fool, like I was away for so long and then something tragic happened and it really made me think of you and I think we should be together and all this stuff, like it was like a glaring anime red flag. Because like she literally dies like the next scene, like as soon as they get done doing that she gets shot by the one of the Gorman guys, which also makes sense because like she's not in any of the movie. I mean, they could have made it like Vel, where like Vel's still alive and she could just be doing other stuff for the rebellion or something like that. But how did you guys feel about Cinta being? I didn't really have much connection to that character, so it was just like, oh man, that sucks for me at least. But what did you guys think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't crying or anything, but just the way that like the show makes you feel about characters that you just didn't think that you would feel that way. It does it time and time again, where it just surprises you with how much you care.
Yeah.
So I wasn't crying or anything, but definitely still felt it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you could definitely see it in Vel's face when she was like talking to the dude, and she's like, "You're not even like a fraction of what she's worth. Like you're gonna carry this." I was like, "Dude, light him on fire, man." I was like, "The dude already feels bad," and then she's just like, "Let's pour some gasoline on this guy. Like, let's go."
Yeah.
Like I was like, "Oh, like dang." I don't know if he's. Go ahead.
No tears, really. I mean, I was kind of. I thought it was going to be the other way around. I thought Vale was going to die.
Yeah.
She was going to survive. So it was a little bit of a shock when they were like, "Who did he shoot?" And then it was her, and I was like, "Oh," and I'm like, "Oh, that sucks." And I'm like, "This is," and it was the same thing. I was like, "This is why you don't profess your love before you go to big battle."
No. As soon as you start hearing that, it's like, stop talking. No, don't say that. When
Clearly,
you're
she
like,
hasn't watched enough
You're
anime.
shaking your thing. It's like, for the love of God.
She has to watch. She's not supposed to know the lore because then they would avoid it, so we wouldn't be sad for characters dying. Because then everyone would start living. They don't care about that. They want to rip our hearts out, which we'll get into in the later arcs, which did rip my heart and soul out. My gosh, but yeah, it was just kind of like, another one for the cause. Okay, moving. Oh, like what's that meme where he's like, "Oh, that was Jimmy. I liked him." Oh well, like moving on. I know you know the meme. That's the worst when talking about memes. Like I see the meme, I know the meme. I try to explain it, I just sound like a crazy nutbag right now. Moving on.
No worries. And then I think that's kind of all the notes I had, unless you guys had it. Oh, you know what? I didn't say it about episode 3, but Daedra and Cyril's mom. Freaking, she brings down the freaking hell. She was like, "I will allow him 2 visits like a month or whatever," and like you gotta like, dude, I was like laying down the ISB law. I meant to say that when we were talking about episodes 1 through 3, but I was like, you know what? I was like, Daedra, I was like, I like you a little bit better now. I was like, I like you. You're moving up a little bit on my because like Cyril's just like laying in the bed, like, dude, he is like the epitome of "Hello Darkness, my old friend." Like
so much. And when I saw that blow up, I was like, "This is the fattest mood of any Star Wars fan I've ever seen." I'm like, the second I thought like I was gonna blow up into a meme, and sure enough, that was all over my feed. Was just Cyril laying on the bed, and it was like me knowing Cassian's fate after, even like I'm watching Andor season 2, but it's like me knowing Cassian's fate regardless. Like he's gonna die either way. But him and Zetra being a couple was totally out of left field. I wasn't expecting that because in season 1, you know, he was kind of like stalking her, and he's like, "Oh, let me help. I want to be part of this," and she's like, "Go away! Like you're not part of this. Like just get out of my hair. Get away." And then they go to lovers, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." And that was a good scene too, the whole dinner sequence with his mom there, and he's like, "I'm just gonna step out," and then she's like, "All right, lady, listen here, 2 visits, this, that, done." She's like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "Dang, okay, light the mom on fire now." Yeah, good sequence.
And the Stanley says he still doesn't know who I thought Uncle Harlow was the person that, like, when he goes and gets that job, like whatever his job is, he's like a task analyst or something like that. I thought Uncle Harlow was that guy that was like introducing him, but yeah, we really don't get anything on who Uncle Harlow is, or he's like probably a criminal. Yeah, I think she said that he was a criminal. But no, we got episodes 7 through 9, and I wanted to know what you thought about we could have talked about this earlier, but now's a good time to bring it up because like while I'm okay with it, I did think it was a little weird, the Gorman's like accent, because it's like it's not French, right? Like they did change it. Because I remember, I think it was like Tony Gilroy or somebody. I heard somebody talking about like them changing the accent, but it's still like, I don't know. For me, it still kind of took me out of it. It made it too like worldly. It's not like Huttese or anything like that, which I know that they took a whole bunch of different dialects from each different parts of the world to make Huttese and stuff like that. But I wanted to see what you guys thought about the Gorman kind of like French rebellion accent, and also too like the French Rebellion, because they're kind of like that too. So
I mean, it's all foreign to me. I don't know what they're saying anyways. I didn't have an issue with it.
Okay.
Yeah, same. Honestly, same. I just know that Yeah, it was like a kind of a link to Star Wars Vision season 2, but yeah, it did not bother me whatsoever because just like, oh man, I hate that you guys are about to. I think I know where this is going, and yeah,
It was kind of like, for me, I think it's on like maybe like less than the Bale thing, but I was just like, huh, that's kind of interesting, like kind of little like, I don't know, it just made it too. I've been really like about being too like worldly. I know JT and I, if JT's still in the chat, we talk about that all the time. It was like, they do a lot of earthy stuff in Star Wars where it's like we want to see like Mustafar or like Utapau or something like that. I feel like sometimes they can do it a little too close to home, but I didn't like, again, I like, it's not like a bad thing or like a blemish. It was more so of just like a curiosity thing. I wanted to see if it took you guys out or if you guys were cool with it. But we also get to see the for the first time, I think, in a like live action show, the Imperial like snipers, like the agents.
Oh, God.
Like we get that in the like the Old Republic. Sarah, I know you know this because you played the Old Republic.
I was just gonna say Republic.
You can play as like an Imperial agent, and like that honestly is one of the coolest storylines in that game. But it was cool to kind of see, like we see it from like 2 seconds, but it was cool that they have like the sabotage of like him like shooting one of the people and stuff like that. That was one of the notes that I had. But how did you guys feel about the because that's in this season, right? The Gorman massacre? Am I tripping?
Yeah.
That's in.
Yeah,
So because I mean, literally 1 through 6, and then I would say, or 1 through 7, it's kind of building up to the Gorman massacre, and then we get it, like that whole thing. How did you? I didn't think that this is where this season was gonna go. It's like seeing like a whole like literally obliteration of a not a colony, a world, I guess, because like they said, like I believe Partagast said that like there wasn't going to be anything left of Gorman, like once they like excavated, like it was basically going to destroy the world. But I'm curious to see what you guys thought about the massacre and like how everything kind of played out. Whoever wants to go,
Yeah.
you do your thing.
It definitely took me by surprise, and the accents and stuff, that didn't bother me. But I liked seeing it, that us kind of watching it, we knew they were up against something that regardless, they were going to lose.
Yeah.
The Cassian, like even as Cassian was in the hotel, like I loved that disguise. That was probably one of my favorite sequences that Cassian did in the beginning.
Oh, he's like a fashion designer.
Designer. And he had that cool cloak. I want those sunglasses.
Oh,
Those are so cool. I'm like, those are sick, dude. I would love that.
I thought it was gonna be like a spy thing where he could like see, like it was like gonna be like a piece of like Iron Man technology or something like that, where it like shows all the stats and stuff, but it was just fashion.
or, like Mission Impossible or something with like scanners
Yeah.
or whatever. That'd be cool. But no, I loved that whole sequence, and I liked the build up to it. And finally, when it got to the point of the tipping point where the mass, like it was kind of an ironic thing of those things where it's like who's gonna shoot first, and obviously we saw the sniper, and it's like, okay, let's do this so we can rile them up and get them attacking each other. And then you see the stormtroopers slowly closing in and choking them and just taking them out, and everyone's just like a sitting duck at that rate, just trying to survive, and it's just pure chaos. And what really got me like on the edge of my seat, like, oh, you're screwed, was when the K2 droids started coming out. And at first, I started freaking out at first because I was like, this is where K2SF's gonna come out. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute, he might not be here. Like, these might just be like a random set. And then when they started walking out, and Cassian's looking, and they're all looking, and then you see them walk over and just start sprinting, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a straight up horror movie right now.
I know, it gave me Terminator vibes. That's what I wrote in my thing. I was like, dude, this is literally Terminator.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Like, if I saw one of those things coming out, I'm sorry, I'd get out as fast as I could. I mean, obviously they were all pinpoint, they couldn't go anywhere, but it was just like that terrified me more than the stormtroopers kind of closing in, because it's like, if you kind of, like, if we were, like, to say, like, oh, yeah, like, if I'm in that situation, yeah, just duck and cover, try to take out as many troopers as you can, but then you see those guys come in, and it's like, well,
where do I go?
Well, also, you gotta remember, too, they're not, like, Jedi or, you know, Force beings where it's like, oh yeah, it's like I can kind of brush this off a little bit because I've got super
They
abilities.
were-
Oh, dude,
Whatever.
that one girl got yeeted. Like, her neck snapped when she hit that concrete.
Oh,
Like,
I heard it a mile away, and I'm like, oh, she's dead. There's no way she's gonna be like, yep, I'm good, just a scratch. I'm like, nope, she broke her neck, she broke everything, she's done. And even seeing Cyril kind of jump into that action in that sequence where it's just panning on him, and he's kind of just like observing everything, like everything he thought he was working towards, and like in his cause was for the greater good. He's realizing like, shoot, what have I done? Like, this is wrong. Like, this isn't what I signed up for. And then he sees Cassian, and then he just sees Red.
Doo-doo.
And then I loved that fight sequence between the two of them too. And then even Cassian, he's like, "Who the heck are you?" And he's all like, "I've been hunting you down." You're like, "I don't know who you are, dude. Like, just get away."
It's like the,
I don't even know who you are.
yeah, the Thanos.
The
And
Thanos.
he's like, who the hell are you? I don't know. So how? And I want to hear Wes and Charlie what you guys thought of it. But how do you? Since we're on the topic of Cyril, how do you guys like or dislike his ending, of him just kind of getting blindsided and basically just done?
I love it. I think Cyril is just one of those characters where it almost feels like in a different galactic system, he's a good guy, you know, but he just got eaten alive by just everyone around him, and it's almost sad, like the way that he goes out. And I never even realized that him and Cassian hadn't met before. So when Cassian was like, "Who are you?" I was like, "Oh wait, yeah, they've never met." But it's like that's the whole premise of season 1, and like I thought that was really interesting, and I really loved that final interaction between him and Dedra, and like just him just at his wits end of just people like not respecting him. And I really enjoyed his character this season. I think he's one of those like big payoffs of like the slow burn storytelling.
Yeah, he's definitely a slow burn, if anything. But no, I echo that, because like I think he's the worst part of season 1, but season 2 made me care about him way more, you know. And then kind of like what you were saying with his ending, like you almost feel bad for him, because he's like he just wants to do a good job and like bring who he sees as like wrongdoers to justice, you know. And then he just another tool of the Empire.
The utter realization, like when the camera's circling around him in the middle of the Gorman massacre, and he's just like, everything I have ever done my entire life has built to this horrible event that will always be remembered.
Yeah.
It's like that's my legacy. Like he is looking around realizing this is my legacy. Murder and genocide.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking.
I agree. Charlie?
Yeah.
Got anything to...
I love the fact that, because after I watched this episode, I went back and like rewatched at least a couple more times, and then I went to YouTube and I watched people's hearts break because I'm that sadistic sometimes. Because I love the fact that there's no music in this, none. As soon as this whole thing starts. I love the layout of Cassian going there to take out Dedra, just scout sniper, and all of a sudden there's another scout sniper and pulls out like a little thing like, okay, well there's troopers up there, can't do that. I love that in this moment, even amongst all this chaos, we get the quote, rebellions are built on hope, from the guy, from like the hotel guy, and you're just like, and you get that little thing. But meanwhile, all the while, this chaos is ensuing, and the scout sniper guy just clearance, fire,
just taking people out,
boom, and then shoots. Everything goes crazy. Cyril has just this Saving Private Ryan moment where just everything's freeze frame, you just hear white noise, and
I still don't know how he got shot standing in the middle of all that and just like a deer in the headlights.
Never mess with old people. Never mess with them. Clint Eastwood taught me that. And just that was another thing about that too. Him going there thinking it was about this, and that old guy just gets mad, and that's another thing that plays on your heart as well when it comes to stuff like that. What are you? It was almost a hint of what was to come with the who are you, and everything like that. Like what kind of person are you and everything like that, and that's set him off to go after Dedra before the chaos ensued. That was a pretty brutal scene as well, where you just did that little moment.
Yeah.
Like, Ruth, everything like that, and honestly, I thought he was gonna die right there from Cassian. Honestly, instead of like that, he's gonna get two birds with one stone, or just even get him by accident.
Oh, that would have been wild. I didn't even think about that. Like
But in another way, but yeah, literally did it. As soon as I seen the K2SO models, I was like, well, this is over. Because I mean, they just start, the one just starts walking, kicks the one, thing goes flying, and I'm just like, oh man, this is brutal. And again, no music, none whatsoever.
Definitely adds to the suspense for sure.
It was crazy. It was madness. It was great acting. Seeing the people's reactions of whenever the body goes there for that one girl, everything like that. The old dude trying to hold, and even get there at the very end. And I'm always one for good fight choreography, so I did love the moment where Cassian and Serial did that. Even though I was like, well, unfortunately, Serial, I know that Cassian makes it out of this. So it's not both of them. I love that you used the environment around them. I honestly thought the grenade was going to take him out.
Yeah.
But that, and of course, who are you? And he has this like little realization moments, like every dittoing off Wes and everything like that. It's like, man, I have everything I've done has led to this. I gotta somehow make it like boom, dead. And just that was it. Game over, done. And Cassian goes bolting out of there, and yet again, one of his original OG homies from the originals and stuff looked like he was gonna die right there. And it's like, wait, what? And then we get a good old Alan Tudyk captured, and that brutal. Okay, yeah, this is my final thing on this. That brutal scene, and Diego Luna played this so good, where you hear everything that's going on in that one room, and you just see him have to react to just tears, and everything, because he's hearing people like help someone, send make sure tell someone about this, but at the same time you're just hearing like help regular people that just are not used to this type of stuff and everything like this. So you're hearing people being slaughtered.
Yeah.
And nothing about it.
Well, I think the moment of realization hits him, because he when you're in it, like you don't have time to think about that stuff. You're just like trying to survive and do. But like when he's like when you're talking about he's escaping in whatever cruiser that is, like I think it like you're saying it really hits him, and you really feel that moment. Like that's what I'm saying, man. I feel like the setup and like the way that it like the tone that they put in these episodes is really like you feel it, man. You feel it, and I think. I would say the majority of the episodes. There's a couple episodes where I'm like, okay, I didn't really get anything out of it, but for the most part, like, man, they really delivered. I was actually surprised about how I thought him and K2 were gonna meet in some like totally different way. I did not expect it to be like, oh yeah, I ran this droid over and then we reprogrammed him. But I feel like it tracks though too. Like I feel like a lot of the stuff that happened in this season, like I didn't expect, like it was gonna lay out the way that it was gonna lay out. But I was like, even though I didn't expect it, like it still tracks with like everything that I've seen so far. But we're gonna wrap it up here with episodes 10 through 11, and then because we're almost at we're at like an hour and 30, and I feel like we've been talking for so long. But man, everything like I don't know about you guys. I thought like, did you guys feel like it was quick? Like the last 3 episodes, I felt like the pacing was like like not in a bad way, but just like I feel like things like unfolded like it was just like the bottle was open and like everything was just going everywhere, you know, like Luthen as soon as he tells Lonnie about the Yavin, I was like, wow, I'm surprised he told him about Yavin. Like another like classic thing is like, oh yeah, it's the same thing with Saul. Like Saul told that guy something and then instantly shoots him. You like look at Lonnie on the bench and he like has a hole on his chest, which like poor that guy. He's like, I feel like his whole arc has been, hey, I have a wife and kids, I'm trying to get the hell out of here, and then just nothing, just done. But we get the Death Star out of him because he and man, this, I feel like these last 3 episodes, like Daedra's bad, right? Like she basically caused a massacre, she tortured Bix, or basically gave the okay to like torture, like she's done a lot of really bad stuff. And then when you see her like kind of at the end, like where Cassian was making the Death Star stuff, like I couldn't help but like I was like, no, she's bad. That's what she freaking deserves. But man, I felt so bad, and she played that so well too. Like I felt like you could really see her like crumbling when those lights turn off, and then the floor like electrocutes and stuff like that gets lit up. Like you can really see her like melt.
Edra is like the living interpretation of what Chirrut says to, having recently watched Rogue One, what Chirrut says to Cassian while they're in Saw's prison. And he, you know, Chirrut is like, you know, I've been in prison before, you know, this isn't a first for me. Or Cassian's like, this is a first for me. And Chirrut says, I get the feeling that you're the kind of man that carries his prison with him everywhere he goes. And if Cassian pulls the trigger on Edu and kills Galen, he sacrifices the ethics of what he believes the rebellion is built on. Where Dedra never questions ethics. She only follows her orders. She only does what her blind ambition tells her to do. Yeah. And she ends up in a prison. Yeah. And I really enjoyed that parallel with Dedra, and just it's the perfect ending for that character. Yeah. Like there are moments where you sympathize with her throughout seasons 1 and 2, and then it just instantly reminds you like how horrible she is, and just she's not even a character I would want to see die. She's just a character that I would want to see be miserable. Yeah.
That's worse than death. I feel like the prison, like I feel like, you know, if she dies, you're like, yeah, that's what she gets. Like that's what she deserves. But like her being in prison, you're just like, oh man, like that's like worse than death, you know, because we get to see like what Andor went through. Go ahead.
The decisions that she made, she has to live with that for the rest of her life. You know, like death is honestly the better option for her. And as you see her crumble, it's like, it's kind of satisfying at the same time to watch it, because it's like, yes, now you have to live with everything that you have made. Every trigger that you've pulled has led up to this. Like, she went from the top to the bottom of the barrel. Yeah. And I loved her arc so much. And I, even in the, circling a little bit back to the Gorman, when she had a chance to pull the trigger on that or not, she just went, nope, proceed. It just showed how bad she is and how power hungry she is, because she thinks by following orders and even questioning her own authority. Like, she thought she was better than the ISB officers, and she thought she was better than, oh my gosh, what's his name, who comes in, he's like, why did I come in here? Death Star plans.
Krennic?
Like, yeah, Tim, and he's like, why did I come in here? And you could see like how she went from like, oh no, I'm the boss, to pure fear and intimidation she got from her, because she knew, she's like, this guy is gonna just ring me. And so between that leading up to the Gorman arc, her screwing up with messing with the Death Star plans, and ultimately it getting out to her finally meeting her end in the prison, is just the most satisfying ending for her arc. I loved it. It couldn't have been more just desserts for her.
And she has to live with the fact that she got, I mean, they never said that they loved each other, but like somebody who she was romantically involved with, like got that, like she knows that he's dead. Like how could she not, how could she not know that, like that he got shot, you know?
I'm sure that little panic attack thing that she had at the very end of besides seeing the craziness of the Massacre of Gorman and because she did say, oh God, like I think, go get him or something like that, and he's like, no, I can't do it, ma'am, he's out there, and you know, because they got that balcony and everything, and he got brain blasted at the very thing, and so how could she not? So I guarantee that contributed to that. So yeah, karma's a thing.
How did you guys feel about Luthen and Clea's like backstory, with everything that was kind of going on? Like I was like, that's an interesting, like, usually I feel like you get a lot of like the backstories, like, well, I guess that's not true. I was gonna say you get them early on, but sometimes that's not always the case. But I thought, like, because I think it's like an episode like 10 or 11 or something like that. Like it's one of like the last ones, they like give you like a glimpse at like what their kind of what their relationship's like, where it's like almost like it's like a father daughter, but at the same time, like I feel like he's responsible for like wrecking whatever world. I don't know if it says what world they're on, but he's like helping wreck that world. So it's like there's like animosity towards him as well. But like I don't know.
It was Naboo. It was confirmed they were on Naboo when they're in that fancy restaurant and everything.
Oh, really?
It was confirmed it was Naboo.
That's cool.
And I found out an interesting thing about that was he targeted Naboo on purpose because it was Palpatine's home planet. So he wanted to strike.
Interesting.
I think Max was talking about like in the very beginning when Leia was in the cage. Like
yeah.
Well, that was somewhere else. I don't know.
But that is cool though. I didn't know that was Naboo. That's also a cool. But yeah, I was.
Sorry. Jump sped a little bit.
No, you're fine. That's what I was talking. I didn't know what planet they're on. It kind of gave me like Solo vibes where they're on like I think it's Membin, like
Membin.
the mud. Yeah, it kind of gave me those sort of vibes where he's like make it stop, you know, because I mean I guess that would be somewhere similar to where like when Solo takes place, right? Because Solo, I mean I don't know when exactly he gets enlisted and stuff. That stuff gets spotty, but nonetheless. Yeah, I don't know. I felt like it was like that, and then like at the end of the episode, I believe I could be getting it wrong because, like I said, I binged it all at once. She like kills him basically at the end of the episode, right? It just shows the backstory and then or not kill. Or I guess she kills him, but he's already dead. And man, like what? You see like these characters go through so much stuff, and then like you just see her like. It's weird because you can tell that she like. Obviously doesn't agree with like all of his methods or has some sort of like maybe not animosity, maybe that's not the right word to use, but like she's always challenging him like throughout the whole entire show, and then you can see like this moment of them just them two together. I don't know, it was as soon as that happened I was just like, oh man, and then she like blows it, they're all blowing stuff up, man. She like blows up, I'm like, when does she have time to do all this stuff? She like blows all the like the speeders and stuff like that up. That's wild, but
badass. You learn a few things.
Yeah. And one thing I did say too is I love the fact you don't know any of these like rebels, right? When you see Rogue One, and that was one thing I know, like, and like they added Melshi in the first season with like the prison escape, right? And then he's like helping Andor like. It's like help Clea like escape and stuff like that, and he's like training all the troops, and like all of those troops are like the ones that like go like are like behind Andor when they're like, oh, how many troops do you need? And like that's like literally all the, I don't know, I think that was really cool that they tied all that in together. And then we get I wrote K2's backhand. I thought that was so fun. He's like, hey, he's like, are you with us? Bleak, nope.
Yeah.
such a dismissive
the meat shield.
Yeah, dude, that was horrifying. He's just like sitting there like he's like literally like
Eyes wide open.
yeah.
The guy like already just like, God, why? He's like, no.
Dude.
That, I'm like, oh my gosh.
I love
I
this.
cleared a path.
I will say my only thing with that episode is I'm sorry. Partagas is obviously not like dumb. He's like the head of the ISB, right? Why do you send one unit for such a highly targeted, like classified individual that could like literally ruin the foundations of the Empire, and you send like a squad. I did think that was a little silly. Like I get it.
Wasn't it just for Clea though?
It was just for Clea, but still, like, you're gonna risk. I mean, the alternative is he killed himself because of it. You're gonna send one squad.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that, but the other side of it is that he can't let people know what Clea knows. So the idea is that she is sick with a disease that's highly contagious.
Yeah.
You can't send an entire garrison to get that one person. And if Clea wasn't there with Melshi and Cassian, they're getting her. Like,
Yeah,
they're not
for
getting
sure.
out of there alive.
For sure.
So,
I get the whole garrison thing, and like I wasn't even really trying to imply. I'm just saying, like, only one squad of like 5 or 6 dudes. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like if because you know how he knows. That's what I'm saying. Like, the Imperials don't fuck around, and like he was just like, I would like send at least like 2 or 3 squads. Like, you could at least send that many. There's enough landing platforms there, because like then I get it. You got to have Cassian be able to escape and stuff like that. That's not the point and stuff like that. It was just like, I was like, dude, this dude is like literally like a genius at basically anything that the ISB does, and he sends a squad. I don't know. I thought it's not the end of the world. It didn't ruin it for me. I thought it was funny, like the freaking K2 throwing people and they're all screaming, and it was he got his hallway scene. Legends get the hallway scene.
He did.
But yeah, I think that's really. Let me see what else I had on the topic. But I think that's really. Oh yeah, I thought that was really rough. That, like, especially after watching Rogue One, like Bix is just like out in the fields, like holding Cassian's baby, and like, I assume it's Cassian's baby. They don't ever really say it, but I assume it's his. And then she's just like sitting there waiting for him, and then you see Rogue One, and I'm just like, oh man, that's
where it hit me hard.
That was the moment.
Because like everything was a build-up, and I mean it was bad enough when she said goodbye to him, and I hated that decision at first. I was like, really? Because someone's like, well, you really gotta let Cassian go because he's the face of the rebellion. This is his calling, and I'm like, really? You're gonna listen to them, like, and be like, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm making a choice. It's for the rebellion. I was like, that's messed up, dude. That's messed up. But then it made sense why because I'm like, there's gotta be an even bigger reason for her to leave. Because she loved him, he loved her, and that couldn't have been an easy decision. There had to be something bigger behind it. But I was like, okay, whatever. That's the end of her story. But having that giant bomb dropped on us just hit me like a wave of emotions like I have not felt since I don't even know when. Probably honestly since the ending of Jedi Survivor for me. And at the same time, because I watched the season finale with my mom, and at the same time because at first we're watching Bix walk, and we're like, oh, she's safe, she's out there. And then the minute they pan on the baby, we both simultaneously at the same time said, and we both just broke down in tears, and the credits rolled up, and I just fell off my couch. I'm not even being dramatic here. I am never going to emotionally recover from this, because the scene that popped into my head right away was when Jin and Cassian stare at each other, and he holds her hand and he says, your father would be proud of you, Jin. And in the back of my head, I'm like, your son would be proud of you. And I'm like, oh no. This has a whole other meaning and underlying tone of depression and sadness hitting all at once, and it just makes that scene even more heart-wrenching because he doesn't even know that he had a son. And even Vale tells her before he goes on that mission, like, hey, you should really get in touch with Bix, and he's like, she's safer without me, and when this all dies down, I'll get back in touch with her. And obviously
it's like, are you sure about that?
Just beautifully well done, and it just got me going. That was the moment where I was like, we are never getting this again. and we will never see anything like this again. Obviously, it's hinted at that they could continue the story because his legacy lives within his son, and Bix is alive, and we do see other survivors from the rebellion and from Ferrex, but I don't know. It's up in the air, but I could not have asked for a better conclusion and a more satisfying ending and tie-in to Rogue One than Tony Gilroy and everyone just put their hearts and souls into this. And as a big Star Wars fan, this is the kind of like story we needed for such a long time. We have been begging, we have been asking for something like this for so long. And to finally get something like this is sad, because it's like this was like a one hit thing for us, because obviously we see where the path line is kind of going for future Star Wars content. Like, it's kind of a hit or miss at this rate. So to get something as special as Andor is like, there are no words to honestly explain it or express it, and I'm just happy that we all got to experience this while we could and while we did, and we'll see what happens next. For sure, we will definitely see.
Well, I think that's a good. I mean, I feel like you said it, man. That's a good way to end this thing. We're already out. We're basically at 2 hours, which tracks for our roundtables. I feel like our roundtables are always usually like an hour to 2 hours, so that it tracks. It's good to be back. Unless Wes, you or Charlie have anything to say, we'll wrap this baby up.
Yeah, I mean, I am excited for the return of the Mandoverse, but yeah, we'll never get another Andor. I do love the spaghetti western, fun episode of the week kind of style of Star Wars, but there'll never be another Andor. It will be missed, and I hope that Disney, Star Wars, and Lucasfilm take notes on the success that it was and implement its best features into future stuff.
Hell yeah, man! Well said. I completely agree.
Emotional thing of that is it's like poetry, it rhymes. Of whenever to add because what Andor, Cassian, good old man, learned from Luthen, so seeing that having that baby shot pop up as soon as you know what's happened on Rogue One, that instant, I'd burn my life for a sunrise I know I'll never see.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Also, happy birthday, A New Hope. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect way to end it. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with us. I know this has been a longer one. I wanted to do the week-to-week thing, just didn't work out. But honestly, this was awesome. I really, it makes me miss doing these so much. And there'll be more to come for sure. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out. Stanley's, the Skywalker Academy, appreciate you guys hanging with us the whole time, and then also the other people who are in here that are just hanging out and vibing with us. Make sure to follow all these awesome people. I have all their links down below. They have YouTubes, they have Instagrams. Go show some love and support to all of them. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and as always,